Mike, good to have you with us. So first of all, let's just talk about this leak. It's coming at a time when Democrats control the House, the Senate, the White House. Do we know how the president, how politicians are responding to this?
Well, Joe, we haven't heard from the White House declining to comment after this story broke last night. That's likely to change when we see the president leave the White House in just a few hours to travel down to Alabama. It is just significant to look at what the president has said recently, though, about this issue. He has said women's reproductive health is under assault in this country. In the State of the Union address, he called for Congress to enact the protections of Roe versus Wade, the protections on abortion rights, into federal law. That's led to some prominent Democratic officials, including Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, to call for this moment to do just that. It would require changing the Senate filibuster's rule, lowering the voting threshold to 50. Obviously, we wouldn't expect any Republicans to support this. That's an internal fight for Democrats. But we will likely, as I say, hear from the president later today. And we're also going to hear from Vice President Harris. She was already scheduled to speak at a gala dinner tonight for Emily's List. That is a Democratic political organization that supports candidates who support abortion rights. So this is an issue that will likely become front and center as we move forward, especially for the Democratic Party.
We want to bring in NBC News Justice correspondent Julia Ainsley right now. Julia, NBC News has not obtained or confirmed this draft put out there by Politico, but what do we know about this document and what are the implications if Roe is overturned?
Well, that's right, Joe, and it's probably unlikely that anyone will obtain this because it's such an unprecedented leak. But when you look through this document, it does seem to line up to exactly where the court would have been in their drafting decisions in February. Again, they heard these oral arguments over the Mississippi case that banned abortion at 15 weeks in December. This would have been about where they were, having figured out who was in the majority, who was in the minority, and having Alito draft this opinion, being the one to speak for the majority. It also shows that we're not clear where the Chief Justice would stand on this issue, since he would normally be the one to write the majority if he were indeed on that side. It could be, though, that he just hasn't picked a side. And you were right to point out that these are decisions that could change. That is a big reason why things never leak from the Supreme Court, because these justices stay so insular so that they have the will to deliberate, to change their minds, to look at how someone else might present an opinion and then be swayed. That's the way this body is supposed to work. But right now, if you take a look at where things stand, and if they didn't change, it seems that this would not be what some had predicted to be a slow kind of weakening of Roe, but instead this would obliterate Roe.
And Julia, you mentioned this leak itself is shocking. There is a lot of speculation out there, but at this point, that's really all it is speculation, right? We really have no idea where this leak came from, do we?
Really no idea. I mean, we know that it's usually a very small number of people who are able to see these documents. It has never happened. A leak like this has never happened in the modern history of the court. You just have to think about what the topic is here, and that this isn't leaking about some kind of arcane law or something that's very in the weeds. This is perhaps the most hotly and highly watched decision over the modern history. There have been so much debate over this issue since the court ruled about 50 years ago on this issue. And so it could be that whoever this was who leaked it felt that there was some moral implication to do so, either pro or anti-abortion rights. And so now we'll be sitting to see how things could change and how the court will respond. So far, the court has made no comment on this, but no doubt they are rattled, Joe.
Mike, this would be a legal decision with huge political ramifications. In August 2021, NBC News poll found 54% of Americans believe abortion should be legal. Democrats were heading into the midterms facing strong headwinds. Could this outcome, this decision by the court, if it happens, change the dynamics this November? And if so, how?
Well, Joe, I've actually been talking to Democratic officials very close to this White House, and they've been telling me for months, frankly, that, yes, we're looking at the poll numbers for the president, for his party, and sensing that this is going to be a midterm that follows tradition. In other words, that Democrats were going to face a shellacking, likely a strong wave against them. But they said, look, wait for the Supreme Court ruling, because this has the possibility of really upsetting the entire political dynamic. And that's what we're already beginning to see. Swing district Democrats already posting messages messages to Twitter. Alyssa Slotkin, for instance, she's going to face a tough race in her Michigan district. Michigan is one of those states which would immediately, the previous law which would outright ban abortion would go into effect. We saw in the past elections, for instance, in the governor's race in Virginia last fall, the Democratic candidate Terry McAuliffe had warned that the Republican candidate Glenn Youngkin would sign into law a ban on abortion. That's likely to now be a message. It didn't work for McAuliffe last year because it was lower in terms of economic issues, other issues, but this now raises it, puts it high profile at the top of the list, and Democrats really sensing that they might have an opportunity here. Republicans, though, we've seen in the past, Republican-based voters also strongly motivated by the issue of abortion, and so we could see both sides even more motivated to get to the polls, and this is always, in the midterms, an election about turnout.
Julia, Ainsley, and Mike Memoli, thanks.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.